Guess what? The flagship killer is back. This is the OnePlus 12, and this is the OnePlus 12R Genshin Impact Edition. Now, we're going to be focusing more on the OnePlus 12 here in this video, but if you want a full video on this one, let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, the real flagship killer is back, and I'm not exaggerating. The OnePlus we all knew and loved back in the day is back, and while the price isn't quite where it used to be, it sure is a whole lot cheaper than a lot of other flagships from Samsung, Google, and Apple. So this is the OnePlus 12 after a month and after the updates. Now, just like any other reviews on this channel, let's quickly talk about its specs. The OnePlus 12 I'm reviewing has 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage, which is the top tier spec for the OnePlus 12, but it's also available with 12 gigs of RAM with 256 gigs of storage. The processor inside is, of course, the newest Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, so this thing is a champ when it comes to performance and battery efficiency. And speaking of that battery, this also packs a 5,400 milliamp hour battery, so it's actually packing a little bit more battery compared to the usual flagships that we've seen come out this year. And you can also fast charge this phone up to 80 watts wired and 50 watts wirelessly. In terms of its design, it's not a huge design overhaul, which seems to be a trend right now. It's not too far off from the OnePlus 11, but I will say the matte finish on this new flowy emerald color looks and feels nice. It has this green color shade like last year, but you won't see fingerprints on here. And I think the marble-like design on the back of this phone looks pretty awesome. But if you do want to switch things up, check out channel sponsor Dbrand because they're now supporting the OnePlus 12, and they've got some dope skins like these two X-ray skins that I have in both light mode or dark mode, or this acid Damascus skin, which just looks so good on the OnePlus 12. If you guys want to check out these skins or a bunch of others that they offer on their website, make sure to go to dbrand.com/heymarkel or click the first link down below. And huge shout out to Dbrand for sponsoring a portion of this video. In terms of its display, it has a 6.8-inch QHD Plus display that features 120Hz Pro XDR display, and that Pro XDR display is basically what they brought over from Oppo. And it's a 1600 nits display that can reach 4500 nits peak brightness, which is just absolutely nuts and something we don't really need. But hey, it's here. Besides that though, I think the display itself looks really good and it's rather color accurate. It's not too saturated, but also not washed out. I think it's just right. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on battery and its performance just because this phone is pretty much in line with other flagships with similar specs, but I will say battery life, despite it having slightly bigger battery inside, I'm actually surprised that it's almost in line with the S24 Ultra. I think they're about neck and neck when it comes to screen on time. I can get about 7, maybe 7.5 hours of screen on time on this phone. But the best part about this phone though is if the phone actually died much earlier than usual, you have faster wired charging and wireless charging that can get this back up and running in less than an hour. Now, when it comes to performance, I think the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 performed right in line with the S24 Ultra as well. So if you're big into gaming or multitasking, this phone is perfect for that thanks to the new cooling chamber that they added to this phone. It actually doesn't get super hot or warm compared to the OnePlus 11. So if you like playing, intensive games like Genshin Impact at 60 frames per second in medium to low settings, for example, the phone doesn't get super hot, but it will and can get warm. But I haven't really had the phone overheat or throttle yet, which is definitely a great sign. Now, I'd also like to mention that there's this ongoing bug that I was hoping updates would fix it, but this actually only happens when I'm benchmarking and using Geekbench. Now, the bug that I'm talking about is this. The OnePlus 12 is getting much lower scores than usual in single and multi-core scores, and the fix right now is to turn on high performance mode in these settings. With that turned on, you should be seeing scores that are right in line with, what the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 should be getting. Granted, benchmarks are benchmarks and not real world usage, and even without high performance mode on, I didn't really notice any slowdowns or stutter whenever I'm using this phone. And then we have the software. When it comes to software and the updates that it's gotten, I've only really gotten a couple since I've had the phone for a month and some change. And when it comes to the actual software updates, there's some quality of life changes. Things like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth stability, which is working really well here. Before, Wi-Fi used to be so spotty that it would switch to my cell network all the time, but Now that's fixed. The fingerprint reader is also a lot more responsive than before. But one thing that they added with the latest update, which I think is a big deal, is master mode. Now, from what I understand here is that master mode gives you Hasselblad's color tuning, which can only be accessed using this specific mode. And all that color tuning can be used in auto mode, which is awesome, or pro mode, which gives you more granular controls. So cameras, in my opinion, is what really makes every single smartphone that comes out different nowadays. It used to be the display or the processor or the software, but I think we've hit that plateau on those where every single device is just as good display-wise and just as fast performance-wise. I think what smartphone companies nowadays are focusing on, excuse the pun, are the cameras. So the OnePlus 12 packs a triple camera setup on the back, a 50 megapixel main wide camera, which is the Lydia 808 sensor. It's not quite 1 inch, but has the capabilities of mimicking a 1-inch sensor. And then there's the 48 megapixel ultra wide camera and a new 64 megapixel 3x zoom camera that can digitally zoom up to 6x without noticeable quality loss. Now, if you're a fan of using the main wide camera, the new Lydia 808 sensor, in my opinion, takes incredible looking photos. Out of the camera, shots are crisp, not too overly processed like in years past, but it is contrasty and has good color accuracy. I also like that there's good subject to background separation without the need to use portrait mode, thanks to the new sensor. In master mode, like I said, you can get slightly different photos using master mode. And from what I've noticed, it looks like it likes to balance out the shadows a bit to give the image a little bit of balance between contrasty images and not so contrasty images. It also likes to soften the highlights by not overexposing certain parts of the image, and it looks like there's less post-processing happening in the background. The images are just a little bit softer, which you may or may not like. But for me, I really like how master mode processes these photos. And to be quite honest, I don't really see a huge difference in colors, even though they mentioned that this should be using Hasselblad's color tuning. I think it looks about the same. It's just in master mode, you can adjust the saturation, contrast, sharpness, and add a vignette to the photo. And then when it comes to the ultra wide and the 3x zoom lens, in my opinion, it's okay. I think I've gotten spoiled with other flagships with far better sensors than the one that OnePlus used on this phone, like the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. They both use much bigger sensors for both the ultra wide and telephoto lenses. So my opinion on these two focal lengths might be a bit harsh just because I've seen better photos from other phones, but the shots that you can get with the OnePlus 12 are really good for its price. But just know that there are phones out there that can take better ultra wides and better telephoto shots. Now, in terms of video, the OnePlus 12 can film in 4K 60 using all lenses and 8K 24 using the main wide camera. The OnePlus 12 can shoot good videos, but there's something about its processing that I don't necessarily love. It's a little bit too sharp for my liking, but overall though, it's fine for most things like sharing videos on social, but it's definitely a bit better than what OnePlus had in years past. But yeah, that's the OnePlus 12 in a nutshell after the updates. It's a pretty awesome phone for $800 or $900 in my case with this unit that I have. I think Oxygen OS and how minimal and clean the UI looks great and pairs well with the hardware on this phone. The 80-watt wired charging is awesome, and having fast 50-watt wireless charging is even better, so I can just, set the phone down and forget it. There's really nothing else to say other than if you're looking for a flagship phone, one that can easily compete with the S24 Ultra and the iPhone 15 Pro Max or even the Google Pixel 8 Pro, but you don't really want to break the bank, this is an awesome pickup. And what's even better is OnePlus is offering great trade-in deals on their website that can bring the price down if you trade in any phone in any condition and automatically get $100 off. But if you trade in something like an older iPhone, for example, let's say the 13 Pro, you can pick up the highest tier OnePlus 12 for $460. And that's a huge upgrade from the 13 Pro in my opinion. Anyways, that's been it for this video. If you guys did enjoy this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And thank you all so much for watching. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one.